Welcome back to the mix. When it comes to major accidents, we are taken to the hospital. But for minor accidents, we make one big mistake. And here to tell us what that mistake is attorney Lloyd Baker. And how are you doing today, sir?
Great. Good morning.
So I just said it. We go to the hospital when we're in a major accident.
Right.
And that is something that is done. It's so important, especially if we're going to have to sue or anything like that. But when we're in a minor one, we don't do one thing that we should do, and that is?
So I call them low damage cases because, I mean, you never know. 'Cause sometimes there's no damage to the vehicle whatsoever, but there's a lot of damage to the person, right? So, so the biggest problem, as you pointed out, is people just think, oh, it's going to go away. My pain's going to go away. My headache's going to go away. My neck's going to start feeling better. Especially men, they try to buck it up and go through it, push through it. So it's like, or you just have somebody with good pain tolerance, right? And so they think, okay, it didn't go away the last couple months. And now can I start going to the doctor? And you're like, no, it's too late. So basically, yeah, that's the biggest problem we have.
Yeah.
Just people just think it'll go away and it's not that bad, and it just never does. And then they find out they got a slip disc, or that they get tingling down their arms or down their legs, which is radiculopathy. All that kind of stuff is a sign that you're in pain. Right. Your body has got some problems.
And what happens with that is that if you didn't go get checked out, even if you go to urgent care somewhere afterwards, you have that piece of paper, you have that information there, because down the line, if you do need to go sue for medical, you won't really have a chance, because they're like, well, why don't you take care of it right then? As you said, down the line, it doesn't go away. And so
insurance companies don't buy it, the juries don't buy it. You at least need to show some consistent treatment. Right. And so get checked out, especially if you have children. We talked about that too. Now everybody's back to school, you have kids in the car. They're pretty tolerant to pain and to injury. It doesn't seem like they get as injured as older adults, but I'd still get them checked out just because it's just important. I mean, because I've had them where down the road, the headaches didn't go away, they cry during the night, there's something still bothering them, and so it's like just get them checked out so that there's some consistency of care, and it's a lot easier to get them resolved.
Because people don't realize how bad a minor accident can be when we talk about speed. Some people think, oh, it was just a 15-mile-per-hour bump to a 35-mile bump. My airbags didn't come off, so I'm fine because the car helped to do it. But that's not the case, and that's something that also is important when you are in those minor. Really look at how fast you're going, what's going on, so that way you have that kind of record too. Yeah,
engineers have looked at things like that, and because of the way vehicles are made nowadays, they take a lot of crunch, right? a lot of pressure. So it's the energy that flows through the vehicle, and sometimes they said that when you don't have as much damage, it's more of a complete impact, where that pain goes right to the energy is circulated right to the human.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the lower impacts, I've had people had double surgeries on stuff like that.
Wow.
And not any damage to the car whatsoever.
Yeah, and we have to think about, if you don't have the right insurance for those medicals, that's where you're going to need to come in with, of course, you and your team, because you're there to fight for them to make sure that you do get that help. Or even if you do have that kind of, sometimes the insurance company doesn't want to take care of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Worked for State Farm for years and years and years. So good company, but they tell you the same thing. You don't need a lawyer.
Yeah, don't get a lawyer.
Because they know you're going to pay more.
Yeah,
and so then you're going to get more.
Yeah, that's important right there. I want to change a little bit, because we mentioned about school and back to school, and the kids are driving now, and there's going to be accidents at school and different things like that. So with that happening, who's responsible to file those claims? And of course, if there's something major, who can get a lawyer?
Parents can for their child, right? Because obviously you need an adult that can sign for them. But just as we're talking about children, I was thinking about this. Make sure you get underinsured motorist coverage, a lot of it, under and uninsured motorist coverage, because as a pedestrian, your child's walking across the crosswalk and gets hit or something like that. Underinsured motorist coverage covers that from your vehicle, even though you're not even in a vehicle. People don't know that. And so make sure that you get it. Make sure you get a lot of it, because just to protect your kids.
Protect kids. That's so important right there. Mr. Baker, love when you come in. Always good to see you. It's amazing, an attorney right there. Where can people find out more about what we've talked about, and of course getting a hold of you if they ever need to have injury lawyer?
BakerWins.com, and we're there to help you whenever you need us.